everybody. It's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. And right now, today, we are reviewing the last night's episode of Better Call Saul. And it was third to the last. There's two more after this.
Ooh.
Is that correct? And it was called Breaking Bad for some reason, which I don't get. And I didn't get the episode. I didn't care for it. In fact, for me, it was painful to watch.
What's the next? You know what would have been funny, Safi? Wouldn't it have been funny if the next episode they called it Ozymandias Part 2? That'd be hilarious.
I don't know what his fixation on that episode is. Move on.
Yeah, move on for sure. And the next episode's called Waterworks, which you know that means...
That sounds like crying.
You know that means that we're going to find out about Kim. Kim. And then the last episode is called Saul Gone. Which he actually says that in this episode, where he says it's all gone.
Mm-hmm.
When Francesca talks about how she gave all the money in this one account, $810,000.
Oh.
He said it's all gone, and so the last episode's going to be called Saul Gone.
So that was the money that went to the feds, I guess, or whatever. I see. Well,
Oh.
Our bug friend is back. Our weird bug friend, and he's looking. Well, he's gone now again. He's flying around. He's entertaining us with his flight patterns. But anyway,
so Safi, last episode was a piece of shit. Of course, every episode this whole season has been a huge piece of shit, except for like a couple, maybe like one or two or three.
Yeah, maybe three.
Were serviceable. The rest of them have been just giant piles of shit. Like, spoiler alert, my top 10 worst of the whole series is going to probably just be 10 season 6 episodes.
Wow.
Or like close to that. Like, that's how bad these episodes are. And this episode was no exception. It was another horrible episode. And really the only reason why you're going to have a bunch of fanboys give it a 10 out of 10 is because Walter and Jesse are in it for like 2 seconds. And, you know, that whole... Well, we'll get to that. But let's just say it's so forced, and it's just nowhere near what I expected back in Season 2. They did this long interview when Season 2 came out, and they said that they were going to go through all of Breaking Bad through Jimmy's perspective. And I thought, like, oh, there's going to be, like, a new story that, like, oh, wow, that happened in the Breaking Bad timeline, too? Like, I thought I was really excited for that. Not just, like, seeing the characters on screen and, like, oh, wow, there's those actors. Like, who cares? This whole sequence with them, all the scenes in Breaking Bad universe, to me, they were like deleted scenes from Breaking Bad. Like, what if you went on the Breaking Bad disc and you went to the deleted scenes section and you have like that stupid ass shot where he walks into Walter's school? Like, we didn't need to see that, like, at all. Like, that was so unnecessary and dumb. It was basically only to serve as like a transition with the Gene story. And that's what's funny now, is that we went from everything and everyone servicing Kim. Kim. We went from everything being about Kim to now everything is about Gene and the Gene story. And what is the Gene story, Safi? It's
He works at the cinnamon roll shop. But he's been laying... This is what I don't understand. He's been laying low. He is wanted. He is a wanted man. And he has been... He knows what the people he's been associated with, the crimes they've committed. And why? why would he want to take it up again? I don't get it. He's not like that.
No, he's not.
I don't get it. He would stay remaining low. He would say, I don't need any. I'm lucky to be free. He's free. He knows what prison is. He knows what bad guys do. Murder, steal. They go to prison. He knows all about that. He's been defending them for years now. And why would he risk his freedom? And here he is. And it's like, it's not just that. I think, and I told this to Marco, that this thing at the end of the show last night where I don't even understand what happened there. They were doing their new scam, which is still knocking me senseless. Like, what? And the guy would, I know. The guy didn't want to do it because he found out he had pancreatic cancer. And his own father had that, so he just couldn't do it. He wanted to go, and the thing that they did to get inside and out of their place where they lived or were staying or whatever was they put this tape in the door, and that made it to where it wouldn't lock, and they could just slide open the gate and slide it back or slide the door, whatever it was in that particular case. And the guy, they didn't show any of this, he just said it. They said, well, you go, and Gene says, you go back. I didn't waste all that time scouting this person out and doing the research for you to quit on me. And he said, I can't do that. My father had pancreatic cancer or something.
And Gene's just like, yeah.
He says, you go back now. He said, but I took the tape off. I can't even get back in, not even if I wanted to. And he said, that doesn't matter. You go back anyway. And then the guy still refused, and he fired him. And to me, that is so antithetical to his behavior.
It's just so unlike him in every way possible.
Yeah, and I just like, and then what we had earlier in the episode, which Marco just said something about, was Walter and Jesse had. It was just something. It never even happened either in the original show. They just filmed it for this show, where they're in that trailer and they're talking, and Jesse says, or Walter acts stinking to him and saying, you don't need to know all this. We're not telling you. That's it. And said, Jesse, be quiet. Don't say anything.
He just says the same words over and over
it's
again.
The same thing. And
for like 5 minutes.
You wouldn't have to, if you're worried about memorizing lines for a play or something, you wouldn't have to worry about memorizing these, because it was the same thing over and over again. And I think that it's
Safi,
like
shut up.
That pissed
Safi,
him off.
He doesn't need to know. Stop it.
Yeah, I know.
Need to know. Need to know. I said need to know. You don't tell him now.
And to me, he was thinking about that. And he didn't like it. And he found out in between that time when that was happening and right then and there when this guy said he wouldn't do the scam with this person because he had cancer, he was thinking about that. And he didn't know that Walter had cancer. He found out from Mike, like in the middle sometime. They showed it.
It was funny because he said, well, people with cancer can be assholes too.
Yeah. See, that was another clue.
That was really funny,
He was thinking about Walter.
That was really good.
And he's thinking, oh, well, so what if he has cancer? And he's thinking about the way Walter was. Well, this guy wasn't Walter. And so no matter what, it just boggled my mind. And I'm like, for me, this episode, and it went on really long, too.
It was an hour long.
Which, to me, it was like torture.
And it's like, since they don't have more episodes, they have to shove in more scenes.
Made up content.
In these couple of episodes, like instead of having 24 episodes where you know, you have a story that's properly told. They have this like short season where they have to like shove everything in each episode to make sure that it's all there. Well, so first off, we have this. And also we should mention this episode jumps back and forth in time.
That was another thing. I didn't like that.
So
it was like they were all over the place. It was color. It was black and white. It was color. It was black and white. It was somewhere in between.
And they tried
It was dark and you couldn't see anything.
They tried to do these cutesy transitions too that were just like, ugh, this is cringe-worthy. Like, this is not good storytelling. It's not good. It's not masterful. It's not a 10 out of 10 in any way, shape, or fucking form. Stories like this, flashbacks are lazy. And this episode, these Breaking Bad scenes, they didn't even need to be there. It was just a huge waste of time. It was just fan service. To all the fanboys who, from the very beginning, to their credit, they've been saying, when is he going to become Saul? When is he going to become Saul? And you know what? I tended to agree with them a little bit that, you know, he needed to become Saul at some point. But the thing was that all of us fans, including the fanboys, I'm sure that all of us expected to have episodes where they're just fully in color and he's Saul. And then after that you have the black and white future and it's color too. You don't have it be black and white. This isn't the 1950s. It's 2022. It's color now. Color.
Yeah, and I was around when it was just black and white, and people wanted the color, and they couldn't wait to get it.
You're not cool or edgy because you're telling a story in black and white.
No, you're not.
It doesn't make the story any more special.
It doesn't make it better, I'll tell you that.
And so, this episode jumps back and forth, and I've had a headache now ever since yesterday at a certain point. And look at how it's twisting its head, that bug. It's like twisting its own head.
But it's itching its beak, or whatever that thing is. Its mouth.
Why is it looking at me?
It's listening to the review through the glass. Oh, okay.
So, the jumping around was really irritating.
Yeah, it irritated me.
It was already irritating how you have these such radical time jumps where it's like, oh, okay, of course, just going to rush through it, not really tell a story, because telling stories is too hard. And so you have this time jumping thing where it's the future, then it's Breaking Bad. It's the future, then it's Breaking Bad. And it's so annoying and obnoxious. And, you know, they have these cutesy transitions where, like, a door will close and then they'll show a door in Breaking Bad close. And it's like, ooh, wow. It's like a film student directed this episode. Like, it's like these really queer transitions, or it's like, just because you have these transitions doesn't mean it makes jumping around years and years any more effective or any less hard to watch. You know what I mean? Like, just because they have these cutesy transitions, that doesn't make it less difficult to, like, watch it and comprehend it. Like, it's still irritating, hard to understand, hard to keep up with, because it's so quick and it makes no sense. There's no purpose to it. The only transition that I guess there was a purpose to was when they showed the grave and then they, like, dissolved to Gene laying in his bed, and it's like, oh, they're trying to tell you that he's dead inside.
I don't know what they were doing. I gave up.
That was the only thing that I guess I could say, okay, I give this pretentious shit a pass. You know, very, very pretentious and self-serving. But then again, this whole season has been self-serving and pretentious. Like, whatever happened to that book that the vet had?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the book, and they
little black book.
they teased it like he was gonna get that somehow, and it was gonna be really important to what happened in these episodes. I guess it was just a red herring or something. Like, just wow.
I think they forgot about it.
Really, really bad. Ugh.
I don't know.
I hate this fucking show now.
Well,
It's so terrible now.
We're still reviewing all of the X-Files, and we're on their offshoot program that they did almost when it was over, called the what is it, some Lone Gunman, and
Oh my God, Safi.
and it was so much better than this.
Yeah.
If you want to watch something really good, I guess
Go watch The Lone Gunman.
Watch the Lone Gunman. The first
Don't-
episode.
yeah.
Don't
Don't watch the pilot episode.
No,
Watch
that's a horrible episode.
episodes 2 through 13.
There are some of the best stuff I've been watching. We have to review that too when we're just getting ready to do that. But I would rather watch those over and over again than watch this Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Even one time, because last night's episode, I hated it. And it's terrible.
You hated Nippy too, and you've said you're gonna quit, and then you didn't even quit, and so now you have to suffer.
Yeah, well, whatever. But, you know, and the thing is, they showed Carol Burnett in the episode again, and it was like last week. She was in like the beginning, and then she was in the end. But in the end, the rest of them didn't know she was in the episode because it was really late at night, and I guess she was watching TV because she couldn't sleep, or she's just a night person. But she's really old, which I don't know. That was just weird.
Yeah, that's another hilarious thing, because as you guys have known, Safi falls asleep during reviews because she's so sleepy, and that's why we call her Sleepy Safi. And at that time late at night, there's no way Safi would be sitting up in bed watching kitty cat videos. She'd be sound asleep.
Well, anyway,
so that was total bullshit.
She heard the dogs barking, and I go, that was weird because they don't have a dog, right? And she looked out the window, and she sees her son and that tall guy, which don't ask me what his name is, because I think I've heard of
Safi,
one.
let's stop jumping around. We go through these episodes
well, anyways, that's the
from
last
beginning
time,
to end.
That's
we don't,
the last time she's in the episode.
because you're just wasting time now.
Well,
Like, you're just making it take longer as usual.
Okay.
So the episode starts off with the stupid Breaking Bad teaser thing where they even like reshot the scene where he says that it was Nacho, and you know, that whole bullshit scene that they fucked that up too and made that whole scene completely meaningless. I mean, just imagine how cool it would have been if you had like great stories that happened with Nacho and Lalo, and then you hear their names again in this scene, and instead it's just like, oh, well, Nacho, he's the loser who killed himself in front of both crime families, and then, oh yeah, the loser Lalo who got full of himself and got retarded at the end, and then he got killed by Gus because he did the cliche movie villain thing, like the James Bond thing where the villain talks too much, which gives the protagonist time to do something. You know, it's like, oh wow, those were such incredible stories that I'm getting chills because I heard their names in a scene. Like, no, not at all. So we started off with that. Safi, did you like that opening part where you couldn't see anything?
Oh, that's what I was saying. That was the other
You
thing.
got in the trailer.
You go from the past to the present to the future. Then you have this part where it's all dark and you can't see anything. You know, what's going on? I have no idea. Like, why are you people doing this with the light? Again, the lighting. And is that like a slap in the face or a pinch in the rear end? I mean, what does that mean? When you film a scene and it's so dark, you can't see anything.
I think it's
stupid.
It's just pretentiousness of like.
I don't know what it is, except it's bad.
You know, we can do this because we're better than other filmmakers. You know, like, ooh, we can do scenes in the dark where you can barely see anything.
Well, yeah.
And these scenes are more special and technical than other scenes in other shows.
And that Vince Gilligan, do you know, he worked on the set of The Lone Gunman. So he's forgotten what it's like to have and I know he did Breaking Bad and everything, but this was a smaller show.
Safi.
And this is what Better Call Saul really was. It's a smaller show. Breaking Bad was huge. It was encompassing with so many different characters.
Safi.
And
you know how they say things run out of steam? Do you think Vince has run out of his Gilligan?
No.
Because he doesn't know how to shoot film anymore.
I just think he's forgotten.
Like
or
fucking.
He's let these people take over and they just don't know. They don't have as much experience.
They're too busy. They're too busy writing fake reviews for the show on IMDb.
Yes, and
where they all give it a 10 out of 10.
I can tell because I can tell by the writing. Okay, I'm on to you. Okay?
Yeah. Who do you want to bet it is? Like the.
Oh, I don't know. They could have a publicist. They could have a publicist doing it. That's what they had for The Godfather, and for I read this book, and
the publicist for Godfather wrote a bunch of fake reviews.
Well, they just are really good at hyping it up.
But that's not hyping it up. That's just artificial bullshit. Like, it takes away from the real opinion when all you see is just these fake reviews.
Oh, I know. It's meaningless. It makes it, in fact, you're like, is there anybody out there who can get an honest review of what really happened? I mean, if you really didn't like the certain technique, the certain storyline, certain character, certain words, whatever, is there anybody out there can honestly say why they didn't like it and what they felt was wrong about it?
And that's the unfortunate part is that, you know, when Breaking Bad was on, it was a real conversation with people having fun and talking about, oh, what did you think about Breaking Bad last night or last week? In fact, I at the time, I didn't have any way to watch Breaking Bad on television live. So I found this pirating website where this website live streamed cable channels for free. And there was a chat box next to Breaking Bad while it was on. And it was so fun just seeing people's reactions and talking back and forth while the episode was going live with all these other people who couldn't watch it the regular way. And, like, that's gone now. Because now all there is you have a bunch of fake fanboys who just give everything a 10 out of 10.
Which is just disingenuous.
They're a bunch of fakes and frauds.
And we're all onto you. We are.
And then you have a bunch of people who we just hate everything because it's like, you know, like it's just become so bad that, like, it's hard to even get enthusiastic about watching episodes anymore because every week there's new worse shit that they do. It's like watching new Marvel movies. Like Thor. I knew Thor was going to be bad, and it still pissed me off. That's how bad it was. So, the Gene story. Well, first off, he calls Francesca, and she has like a new job she does now where she's like a landlord or something.
I didn't understand any of that. Because why was she there? I thought that was her place and they were visiting her.
I guess she was the landlord and she was fixing their sink because it was clogged. She goes and she has to take the phone call that was promised from Saul in that stupid season 4 scene. Another shitty reference to shitty piece of shit season 4. And he just happens to call her right before she's going to leave. And, that whole sequence was fine, because it was just nice seeing her and him again. Because, remember, he liked her a lot. And that was another thing, too, it was so strange how in season 3 when she was on the show, and she was actually really good in Better Call Saul season 3. She really liked him, and he really liked her. And then after that, they just jump immediately to her not liking him for some reason. And it's this just, it's not natural. It's just so rushed and fake and phony. But it was nice seeing them talk again in a scene. It'll probably be her last scene, maybe, I would say. I don't know. Because what are they going to do? More shit in the show. What worse shit are they going to do next week?
I thought that was good, too, that they actually showed her in a post-Breaking Bad scene. And it wasn't her committing a crime or her just answering questions about what was going on and giving him some news, whatever that was. Because after that phone call, it's like he changed.
Well, no, that was a different phone call, Safi. You weren't paying attention because you were too busy doing something you didn't need to do.
Cooking.
What happened was, after he finished his call with Francesca, and by the way, he finds out that that bald guy, attorney from the past seasons, he's now a defense attorney. And the only reason I can think that they emphasize that is that Gene is going to get caught and he's going to be represented by the bald guy. And, God, this show sucks. God, it's so bad, Safi. Why is it so bad?
Because they're just playing. This thing where they have to do this scam, I understood it, and it seems like everybody else
Safi,
did
why are
too.
you jumping ahead?
Because if there's nothing to say. We don't like it, so why are you going on about it?
Because you didn't even pay attention, so I have to explain to you what happens like you're a little baby. He called Florida. He called someplace in Florida, so apparently he found out somehow that she moved to Florida. Kim moved to Florida. And he called this place in Florida and asked for her. And then they did this thing where they did a wide shot and they lowered the volume so you couldn't hear what they were saying. And he got really angry and he started slamming the phone and kicking the phone booth. And so either Kim is dead or she's married.
And she doesn't want to talk to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, that explains a lot.
Just so fucking retarded. And so after that phone call, he's mad, and it's like he's not the sad Gene now. He's mean Gene. That's his new character. Wow, it's such a great story arc. It's such a great character arc that he went from being sad to being mean. So that they did have a cool shot where the Cinnabon is mixing, and they show his head, and he just looks so pissed off, and it was a really cool shot because it did kind of look like a Hitchcock movie type of shot where the mixer is mixing his head, and he's he's just thinking about all the things he could do or something. And so I kind of liked that shot. That was one of the few things I liked. Because, obviously, the people who make the show, they're artistic, even though they're really full of themselves. They are artistic. So they'll have moments like that where there's some cool things here and there. So his story is he meets guys at this bar, and first he finds out which guys to choose. And the first one that he does was ironically Buzz from Home Alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was a huge jackass, and he deserved it. And so it was so funny because then the cab driver and his friend, they break into his house using the scheme and scam, and they take pictures of all of his financial documents and things to use like his identity fraud. And yeah.
Well, the thing is, when they did the other scheme with the clothes, the shop,
it was like, oh, this is the last one. He's doing it for a purpose.
Yeah, the purpose was...
It's a scam with a purpose.
To keep these people from bothering him.
Yeah.
But now, because of that phone call and whatever he heard, which is left to our imagination, he wanted to start it up. Even they were confused. Like, well, why do you want to do that? Thought we were through.
They were like, what? Like, oh, you're going to do that now? Like, it was like the audience, being like, oh, what? What are they going to do now in this fucking show? Have Gene scam people, in other words?
And it reminded me of when he and Kim would, remember when they would sit with a certain person at the bar, and the person would end up buying them would buy them dinner, buy them drinks, buy them snacks, whatever. And they were scamming those people too. Not very many, but they showed a period of that. That's what that reminded me of. But it's not the same. This was worse and a lot more involved and detailed. They were taking pictures of their credit cards and their bank statements and the license.
It's like, wow, this is so great. Watching Gene do all this stuff.
Well, he wasn't doing it.
Gene and Jeff,
that tall boy,
cab driver, and the cab driver's friend.
Yeah, he was just orchestrating.
And so we have to, and someone on IMDb who gave it an honest review, they did make the point that, like, we're spending all this time with these characters that we don't know at all. This cab driver.
And the tall guy.
The friend of the cab driver. We don't know those characters at all in any way. I thought if they're going to show Breaking Bad timeline, why don't you show Jeff and his friend in the Breaking Bad timeline so that we can see what they were doing in Breaking Bad? Because the mom said that he fell into the wrong crowd. And so it's like, that would have been something good to show in Breaking Bad. Is to show, like, oh, let's see him in that universe. Maybe he could have encountered Walter White. That would have been pretty cool. So I thought that was a big missed opportunity. Of course, the whole show is a missed opportunity. Like, this whole season has just been one giant string of missed opportunities. And once again with this episode, what are we going to say, Safi? Of all the things they could have done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else they could do. It was painful for me to watch. Because, especially after this thing I've already mentioned, which Marco told me not to talk about, I thought, I've had it. I really have. And I'm like, what are they going to show? Him getting arrested? Carol Burnett ratting them out, saying, I think my son's involved with something weird with this neighbor. I mean, what's going to happen? Uh, we've seen a few things where it could lead to something bad. And they even did something at the beginning of the episode, which we couldn't see, but it looked like it was going to be something bad. Something bad happening to him. Is he going to get killed? Is he going to get arrested? I mean,
What do you mean? Something?
I don't know. I just don't know what they're going to do if they.
You mean the trailer for the next episode with the police car?
No, I don't think I even got to see the trailer.
Well, they showed a police car with police getting out.
Oh.
So who knows why that is?
So
Maybe
I mean, we get to see him get arrested or something? What?
Yeah, that's really what we wanted,
Really?
Safi.
Why do we need to see that?
That's what we wanted to happen to this character that we grew to love over the course of seasons and seasons.
And now, I mean, because his behavior, and the thing is, we're left to all of us, even if we really like it, or if that's just BS. It's left up to our imaginations what the phone call was. And the story, the rest of the story.
Yeah, like what he's thinking.
You know, why is he doing this scam? I just don't get it. And then he started piling up the money. Like, it reminded me of Walter in Breaking Bad, remember? They were getting all this money and they had to find ways to launder it. Remember, they were at the car wash?
Yeah, how's Gene gonna launder the money?
Yeah. I mean, that was like, and they made that very elaborate. I remember, that's why I say Breaking Bad was so much bigger and more encompassing, involving so many people.
Well, more stuff happened.
And more stuff happened. Well, it was just a more complex.
The writers on this show, they're too scared to have anything happen because it would mean writing more episodes.
And they'd have to actually do their jobs.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid. But we're left to do their jobs for them.
And I don't want to because it's
yeah, I don't want to either. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know what to say. I just irritating. And I really, it was like almost getting a root canal to watch the rest of the episode because it was just like painful. Especially when he disregarded the fact that this thing about people with cancer is so not like his character at all. Even if he got a bad phone call, he's had a lot of bad phone calls over the years. Everybody has.
Yeah, like, remember in season 5 when he found that old guy and he helped him keep his house?
Yeah.
From the bank?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I guess that character doesn't exist anymore.
And it just was so painful and exasperating and frustrating that they would do this. The writers would do this, or I should say not do this. In other words, not do their jobs. So I don't know, I'm struggling to finish it up because if the last scene is, oh, he's either going to get killed or he's going to get arrested. Really? That's the best you can do? Then why even bother?
Yeah, it was all pointless. It was all like, oh, we really didn't even need to watch this whole season.
And what are you going to do? You're going to have Carol Burnett turn you in? Or she won't be trying to turn you in, but she's going to be complaining about her son, and then he's going to get caught up in it. And then the thing with the attorney with the bald head that being turned, and he's now a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And mentioning that, and that can be an allusion to that's going to be his defense attorney.
What's weird is that, as other people have pointed out in season 4, there was that one girl who wasn't allowed to get the scholarship because of her criminal history of that one time she did something.
Oh, yeah.
You'd think that she could have been his defense attorney, and that would have been cool if, like, she got to defend him.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
would have been so much better because he gave her advice, and it would have been cool to see that, like, she took his advice, and got to a good place. And so, like, no matter all the bad stuff that he's done, he did help her. And he did help her get to a good place. But no, that probably won't happen because it's too good. Obviously, like, I'm not the writer
No, we're
of
not
the show.
the writers. And why do we have to be the writers?
I'm the reviewer. I'm the honest reviewer. And Safi's the sleepy reviewer.
I'm not sleepy.
Yeah, you are.
Hungry. Anyway.
Well, you're hungry for better episodes.
Yeah, but I think I've given up on that.
Yeah. At this point, there's only 2 left.
Yeah.
It's like with Hell on Wheels. Like, in Hell on Wheels, I knew at a certain point, okay, it's all gonna suck. Unfortunately. Especially the last episode of Hell on Wheels was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. And it was. It was the worst.
It really was.
It was some stupid ass story where he gets asked to be in the Union Army again or something by Colonel Custard. Or was that the guy's name, Colonel Custard?
It's Custer.
Okay.
And no, he's dead. Custer's last stand.
Safi in Hell on Wheels, they had the whole story where Colonel Custer asks him to join the army with him. Remember?
You're kidding me.
Remember that?
Oh my God.
See, Safi's starting to remember how bad that was. Back when they ruined that show too. And it's the same network too, so go figure. I did think though that the one thing I could say is that I did think that Jeff's acting improved. He wasn't as weak and wimpy this episode, but still he's nothing like the character who was on season 5 or 4 or whatever. He's nothing like that guy that they introduced, and so he really doesn't fit. But I did like him more than last episode, and I'm not completely closed to watching his character, but it just feels so shoehorned in that now you're just going to have all this Gene and Jeff story. And then Marion, she's obviously really good in the episode for like the second she's on. Other than that, I give this episode an F-. This was even worse than last episode somehow. At least last episode had some suspense they were trying to do. They really took their time and like, okay, we're going to go through this scam step by step and have like a real suspenseful thing where is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And it was really like, ooh, this is hard to watch. But this episode was just Safi, what would you rate this episode? Let me guess, a C?
No, I'm giving an F.
Oh.
I gave it an F because it jumped from place to place to place. It was like a jumping bean, like a little Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul jumping bean that jumped around into all these years, and nonsensical jumping around. I mean, it didn't follow any particular pattern, and then making us come up with, this is the most bizarre thing, us coming up with a storyline that's missing, and that's not our jobs, or any of the fans, whatever they may feel. It's not our jobs to come up with your storyline. It's your job, and you're getting paid. You're paid to do it. And you should they should take your money away from you because you did a crappy job.
Yeah,
and I resent what you did. I resent you making him, because I felt like after what happened was, especially with this cancer thing,
they're purposefully making him unlikable.
They're making him unlikable, by doing things, they're antithetical to his character. He was not an evil person, I don't think. Well, look at what Walter did. Marco was reminding me of a couple of things.
Yeah, he poisoned the kid. Which,
well, he also poisoned that woman. Remember?
What woman?
Stevia.
But she was an evil bitch!
Well, I know that, but he's not innocent. He's not innocent of doing things. He's bad.
Yeah, but killing Lydia does not make someone bad.
Well, killing a kid, not really even having remorse over it.
He didn't kill the kid.
I know, but
he poisoned
almost.
him with a scientific dose to where he wouldn't die from it. He measured it out to precisely to where it would not poison him to death.
And that should have given people a clue too.
And he let that girlfriend die of Jesse's.
Oh yeah.
That was an evil thing.
That was an evil thing.
He caused the plane crash indirectly, and he didn't care about that. They did the same thing in Breaking Bad, where everyone loved him, and then at the end you're just supposed to hate him because
they want you to.
They want you to, but
which is silly.
The thing was, even in Breaking Bad, they still knew that the fans loved him, and they made it to where you can like him even though you don't like him as well. Like, there can be a mix and balance for him. But for Jimmy, it just feels like they hate him, they want you to hate him, and it's like, oh, now all of his evilness is coming out again. So
that's why I give it an F.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
F minus or just F?
Just F.
Okay. Well, Safi.
Okay, well, if you like this, which I'm sure it probably, maybe made you unhappy that we're just ragging.
That we're being honest.
That we've been watching Lone Gunman too. If you want to watch a good show, which was only allowed one season.
Yeah, one measly season.
And it's good. Not the first episode. That's horribly crappy.
Yeah.
Because they were like grasping at straws and trying to figure out what they were going to do. The rest of it was good. And guess who was on the staff? Your little friend who did these shows.
Well, that's because he was on X-Files, too.
Yeah, but still. He was on the staff, and...
yeah, The Lone Gunman is really incredible. It deserved 10-plus seasons.
It deserved a lot more than one.
Yeah.
Man, it was a lot. It was funnier. It was just a really complete story, and I read some little afterthoughts about it. And the writers really loved the characters. And you can tell they don't love
Jimmy.
No,
they don't like Jimmy at all. They think that Chuck was right, which is, that's a really big red flag.
And Chuck was in The Lone Gunman, too.
In fact, yeah, he's the villain for the final episode.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job where
you liked him.
You like him, and then you don't like him. And it's like, ooh, that guy's really,
And he liked being in the episodes. He liked the show. He was on this little review video, I don't know what you want to call it, post-show video. They all talked about the different episodes, and Vince was on it too, talking about how creative that certain things were about certain episodes, and they loved their characters.
It was sad, though, how in the X-Files, he was, like, really likable and funny and hilarious, the way that he remodeled Mulder's apartment and put, like, a water bath in there.
This was the Chuck character.
That was so funny. And then, like, now, though, he's evil. Like, the whole scheme. He pulled off a scam on the Lone Gunman, and it was a pretty evil scam, what he did, and how he ends up, well, I won't say what happens, but it was pretty evil. It's like, oh, wow, it went somewhere, it didn't just stay goofy and funny the whole time.
No, it was all a mixture.
It was
a
balance.
Very good balance of a lot of different elements.
Better Call Saul is just pretentious melodrama.
Yeah, they have really, and I don't understand Vince. Vince has lost his way.
I don't think it's his fault though, because he's been responsible for the better episodes for the most part. Like in season 4, he's the one who did the letter episode.
Yeah.
With Jimmy painstakingly writing thousands of letters. Thousands of letters. So that he can help get out his innocent friend who didn't do anything wrong.
And they talked about him last night. I don't know if anybody picked up on that.
Huel.
What happened to him? Where did he go?
He moved back to New Orleans. Or to Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to become one of our subscribers and be an honest reviewer, and when you like something, explain why. If you didn't like it, explain why, but you don't give everything a 10 out of 10 and it's a masterpiece, like you're working for the show and you're adding fake reviews to certain channels. Okay? All right.
Bye.